Hello, arty peoples, and welcome to the 200th episode of Jerry's Live. Welcome, my name is Emmy Klein. I'm your host this evening, and as you can see, it is a party, it's a celebration, and I'm so excited to be here for you guys. Quick shout out before we begin. Thank you so much for coming back every week and watching us and getting us to our 200th episode. And I also want to say a quick thank you to the Jerry's Live crew, who without them I would not be able to do all of this for you guys. They are amazing people. Round of applause for them. So cheers to you guys. Thank you so much for making this actually possible and giving me the best job in the world. That's delicious. All right, so today's episode, besides the fancy balloons behind me, we have our mystery art box. You guys wanted it to come back, and today is a good celebration for, general art shenanigans. Now, I have been warned several times by my crew here that they went a little ham on this, and I don't know what's in this box, but they have filled it with art supplies. And the name of the game is that I have a 12 by 16 Yes canvas, and I have prepped it with a fancy party flamingo sketch that I will be painting, but I will be painting, or maybe drawing, I don't know. I'll be just using whatever is inside this box that they gave me, and they apparently have, oops, sorry, sounds like we have a little bit of an audio, oh, and it's gone, cool. It's fine. Sorry about the late start, guys. We did have a little bit of a technical difficulty, but you guys are awesome, and I appreciate your patience. But, all right, so let's get started, I guess, on this opening the box of supplies, because we gotta figure out what's in there. All right. Got it. All right, I got it. All right, as per the last show, there is a lock on this box. I have not been able to see what's in here. They've put together all of the codes, the teacher cart for you guys, so this is the first time I've been able to open it officially. Now, if you are interested in anything that you see in this box, you can go to the website cherriesartorama.com, and if you type in the code JL200, the teacher's cart should come up, and all the supplies that I'm using today should also pull up. So please hit that like button so I can just maybe get a little bit of courage to figure out what's in here. Okay. All right, guys. Let's see what we got. First and foremost, we have Winsor & Newton Gold Metallic Bronze Ink. This is a non-water resistant ink that's bronze suspended in a gum solution. So this usually has a really, really beautiful sparkle to it. I love using these in my illustrations. They're fun. All right, then I have a Splatter brush. This is actually pretty cool. Might as well open it while I add it. So this right here has, it's not, is this cork? Or no, this is like a little piece of wood. And it's on this little funky little brush. It almost looks like the brush that you would clean your toilet with, only smaller. The tiniest little toilet cleaner. But it does have this little piece of wire here. So if you put it up there with some product on the actual brush part, and then you turn it, it should flick your paint and give you a really fun splatter effect. And yes, you can turn it either which direction. Just make sure you pay attention to which way you're turning it, because it will splatter up into your face. I might have made that mistake before. All right, and then we have masking fluid, which is Turner's masking fluid. It comes in a jar. This is usually used with watercolor as like a resist technique, so you guys will see that. Which, thankfully, they gave me these are the masking fluid brushes. So I have one that is a kind of flat, this is a size 1.5, and then I have one that is a round, and that's a size 4. So these are the masking fluid brushes. The thing with brushes and your masking fluid is that whatever brush you put into masking fluid is most likely going to be garbage, because masking fluid does not come out of brushes. Ever. Ever. just so you know. Don't put a really nice Kolinsky sable into your masking fluid because it's now garbage. But these are really nice, super cheap brushes, and if, you know, you have to toss them. I usually like to try and keep them as clean as possible when I'm using that, but it's one of those things that don't use a nice brush. And I also have a variety of palette knives. These are actually the really funky ones. This is the FX. Try saying that 5 times fast. But these palette knives have really funky shapes to them. As you can see, they give you really fun textures, and I've used these a lot in like impasto painting, or just general backgrounds and stuff like that. But this is gonna be fun to use for my flamingo. Party flamingo. All right, so that's the top. You guys are hilarious. That's the top layer. Oh man. All right, so I have chalk markers. Wet, clean chalk markers. This is just exactly as you would think it is. It's liquid chalk in a marker form. And they are the pastel colors. There's 8 of them in the set. This is gonna be an interesting one. All right, and glitter gel pens. I kind of feel like this is Amanda. Wasn't this? No? All right. I feel like Amanda would have given me this because she loves doing calligraphy, but she's shaking her head no. All right. But we have, yeah, this is gel pens that are glittery. A ruler? Oh, that was Frida. Frida's claiming this one. Y'all gave me a amazing 12-inch ruler. I'm not joking. It actually says amazing 12-inch ruler on the box. I love it.
Rolling ruler.
It is a rolling ruler. So it has a little, like this section of the ruler has like a dowel in it that you can actually roll it around. I'll use it. All right. And to complete my FX effects, we have the FX effects brushes that are really funky shaped brushes. You'll see them once I get a little closer up here, but they have really odd shapes to the brushes that give you different kind of brush strokes. These are, what kind of the bristles? I can never remember. Taklon. So these are usable for essentially everything. You can use it for oils, acrylics, watercolors, gouache. It's pretty versatile, but they give you all these different funky brush strokes, which actually this is going to be really good for the feathers. That'll work. Ha! All right, and then we have the 12 Shades of Grey acrylic. This is an acrylic set, which actually I was using on the Tiny Art Show. I just had that on there, and I swatched all my colors. I wish I had known that I was gonna have this, because then I would have kept my swatches over here, but I didn't know what was gonna be in here. All right, so essentially though, this is 12 different colors. Each color is a kind of a desaturated version of like violet. You have yellow, there's brown, a couple different cold and warm grays in there. It's a really pretty set. I really like the color combinations. And then I have the blackest China ink, which is Asumi ink, and this is a really big bottle. They're actually, I love these bottles. They're really pretty. They come in this beautiful porcelain that has, I'm gonna shove that in the box. I don't need the box it comes with. It has this really, really pretty dragon design on the actual bottle. And even if I'm not using the Sumi ink, sorry, it looks like there's a little bit of dust on there. Even if I'm not using the Sumi ink, this is something that I love having on my shelf, just as like it's really pretty. And then boom, all of a sudden I can use it for art. So I have Sumi ink, I have metallic ink, I have pens, I have pastel, chalk. All right. I'm going to have to formulate some kind of a plan of attack here. I kind of want to use the masking fluid with the inks because I feel like that would make the most sense because usually they're used for watercolors, but I am curious to see how that would work with like the pastel chalk markers. I feel like that would still resist it, but like you don't want to kind of peel up your masking fluid. Okay, all right, there's my ruler. I don't need that either. Let's just get things out of boxes. And the other thing I do have is a thing of just water and my brush washing basin, words. And I also had spike oil, just in case somebody gave me some oil stuff, but I didn't know what I had, so. All right, here are my markers. I do have a pink. I can make my flamingo pink. That's a thing. All right, 12 shades of gray. Any questions on any of these art supplies, feel free to shove that in the chat. And Amy and Frida, wow, I said Amy. Wow. Sorry, Amanda and Frida. My brain is like on all these art supplies. I'm trying to still figure out what I'm doing. I apologize deeply. Love you. My bad. It's Amanda and Frida. We'll get those questions over to me. But let's take things out of packages though, so I can grab and go. I feel like with the splatter brush and these effects palette knives, gonna need to use those with the acrylics because that'll give me a really fun kind of texture. Now the flamingo that I was basing my drawing off of was based off of this image, so I'm gonna have this up on the table with me here. And I have the artist who actually did shoot this photography. His name is Alan Emery, and I got this from Unsplash, which is a royalty-free website. One of my favorites. You can also go on Pixabay, which is really good, just for like photo references. But that's what I am going to be basing this off of. So it's a lot more orange than I would have expected a flamingo to be, but I mean, it's lovely colors. Love them. So many things. All right, put my FX brushes over there. I need to get some supplies on there. All right, I think I'm gonna use the ink at the sort of endish. We can probably, I can use that gold for the glasses, because I did put glasses on my flamingo, and it says 200 because it's the 200th episode. But I don't know how well these chalk markers, because chalk markers usually will pick right back up, so I think I'm gonna probably have to keep these towards the end and use these as kind of like a little bit of like funky, for like I'm thinking for like the feathers in the background here, kind of a thing. Just kind of scribble it in as like an indication of feathers. But I also do have my Gray Matters palette, so I can use that with my acrylic paints. All right, I think my brain is catching up with my mouth. Katie always jokes that my brain goes too fast and my mouth just goes, but love me anyway.
I say it in a loving way.
You do. It's a quirk. Know your strengths, right? Okay, so let me grab some acrylics here. I'm gonna go with a red gray. That brown gray is actually a little bit more pink than you would expect. Let me scooch that over. So yeah, let's get painting, guys. Let's get painting. I'm gonna also use the Payne's gray as the background just to kind of knock that back into space a little bit. All right, let's start. I'm gonna use a ton of Payne's gray. And you know what, I'm gonna also use a little bit of the blue gray just to kind of cool the background, because I want to have a juxtaposition of cooler colors in the background. So my flamingo, it's gonna be nice and warm. There'll be a little bit of like that push and pull between the cool and the warm colors. I like that. And maybe a touch of the violet. That's a really pretty color too. All right, let's get messy. I'm gonna have to use these FX effects brushes because that's about all I have to apply this. I mean, I can finger paint. That wasn't in the box, but we'll make this happen. All right. Let's go with, I guess, this is the size number 8. Looks like a deer foot brush, really flat. All right. Kind of just pop some color in there. I think I'm going to put inside the glasses, I'm going to make them some kind of a funky color. Like, what's that song? La Vie en Rose? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
My pronunciation is always terrible, so
Close.
forgive me if I mispronounced it, but you kind of understand the song I'm thinking of. But rose-colored glasses is what I'm looking at. Now, the cool thing with this canvas here, and the reason why I'm using Yes, is because it accepts everything. That's kind of the cool thing about the canvas, is that if you have oils, if you have acrylics, if you have watercolor, it will also accept that. Now, I will say the watercolors do take just slightly longer to dry on the canvas, just because it's not as absorbent as paper, but it will cure and dry and give you a really pretty watercolor effect. Now, I'm not being super kind or perfect with my background here because I'm going to get real messy with it. I just want to knock that back though. And I think his party hat is going to have that bronze, the bronze ink kind of dancing through there because he's fancy. Okay. And just kind of knocking that. Whoop, got it on the side. Alright. So there's a little bit of my background. This color actually would be really good for the tip of the beak, which we were just joking about how the beak of a flamingo looks kind of like a banana. Just a really odd shaped bird.
Especially at that stage.
Yeah. Alright, we're not going to be perfect with this. Again, just going to put some color in. Alright.
Is Yes Canvas archival?
Yes, it is. It is absolutely archival. That's another reason why I personally love it, and it's one of those things that if you do use a canvas that isn't archival, what's the point? You know, your artwork isn't going to last, so you should make sure to get a canvas that will stand the test of time. Alright, so gonna kind of pop that in. Alright, I think that's it for the Payne's Gray. Let me pop in a little bit of this blue just to kind of indicate the side of that beak. Just like a slightly lighter area. Just like where the light's hitting it, kind of thing. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to leave that in there, and I'm going to grab the FX knife. It's kind of a funky way to make my background look interesting. Give it some texture. And pull some of that purple in there. Why not? And actually, you know what? I need a little bit more Payne's Gray to kind of darken that pigment just a little bit more. Let's grab another one. Why not? Different shape. Let's go with this super wiggly texture. That's fun. Alright, so I'm going to have to kind of hold this so I can see it a little bit better. Hopefully you guys can see the texture that it's putting in. It actually looks really cool. Now, I don't think the 12 Shades of Grey was intended as an impasto paint, because it's not a heavy body paint. It's more towards the soft body. But that means when it dries, it will contract a little bit. So my textures won't be as obvious, but it will still kind of be there, especially because I have the different colors kind of floating through. And it's okay if I get it over top of some of the other stuff, because I'm going to paint that later as well. And let's use my little... I always call this one, it reminds me of like a frog's foot, with just way too many toes. Or like a little crown kind of a thing, because if you do that and like pull it in, it will actually give you some really fun textures. So do I have to use every FX Effects palette knife? That's the question though.
I was going to say no, but what do y'all think? Nobody's answering.
Nobody's answering. I mean,
as long as you use enough of them.
Does that count as enough?
I don't know.
Alright guys, you tell me, how many of these FX Effects brushes do I have to use? I've already used 3. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? 9 brushes, or 9 palette knives. How many of these do I have to use? Do I have to use all 9? You tell me. Let's let them decide. Haha. And I'll use this one as well, because this one's really fun. This one kind of looks like a saw blade.
I'm getting a use what you want.
Otherwise, I'd be sitting here using these palette knives all night. But we can do that if we need to. Okay. I'm going to move on to the Flamingo. I seriously don't know what... Hopefully that bottle of ink is going to fall over and spill. I don't know what to do with these brush, or the gel pens.
Someone on Facebook said you should use them to make like a gradient in his glasses.
Oh, that's a solid idea. And I did get some of that paint over there, which might be a problem. But I could probably touch that up with the chalk marker, but I, again, don't know how the pen would react on top of the chalk marker. But we can test it, give it a whirl. But there's my brown gray. So again, it's a little bit more pink than you would expect. And then there's the red gray. And then also use the yellow. For the beak. Oh, and I don't have a white. I don't have a white paint. So we're going to use Gray Pale. This is as close to white as I'm going to be able to get. It's not exactly white, but it's a really light gray.
You have a white chalk marker?
I do have a white chalk marker, but I don't know how the white chalk marker is going to work with the acrylic paint. I can go on top of it and give it highlights at the very end. I just, again, those chalk markers I think are going to have to be like the last thing I do.
But bleed some out and put it in the white pale gray.
I think we'll be alright. I think this will work. This will lighten my colors enough, I think, to give it that idea of form. I think. Alright, so I'm using the, this looks like a dagger brush kind of a thing. But it's quite short. But it's the only one I have that's kind of more like a normal brush. Just so I can get some of that paint down. Oh man. Let me pop in some of this reddish color. Alright. This is the red gray. So because I don't have anything that's like a traditional red color, I'm going to have to make do with this. But it'll work. So I'm going to kind of ignore the glasses for the most part right now, because I can probably do a quick wash at the very end and then color it in with that the gel pen, like whoever had suggested. Thank you so much. But I don't want to try to paint around the form of his head. So I'm going to paint kind of around the like the biggest shape of the 2 and the 0, 0, but in the middle here I'm going to paint that in.
Ravonda on YouTube says your flamingo is shaping up to be a pretty steampunk bird there.
I'm not mad at the fact that my flamingo looks a little steampunky. That's awesome. But we will see at the very end if I can keep the steampunky look. It's gonna look kind of, it's gonna have that vibe because I have bronze ink, and I'm gonna have to do something with that sumi as well. Which, cool thing is I think the sumi should go on top of the acrylic quite nicely. I've done that before. I don't know if I can get washes. That might be a bit of an issue, but it should be alright to kind of, almost I'm thinking of like a comic book kind of graphic design, kind of chunky shading technique is what I'm envisioning in my head. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to try.
Donna says your flamingo needs to eat a couple more shrimp.
It does need some more shrimp. So if you want to send me some shrimp, I'll make sure to get it to my flamingo. And by my flamingo eating shrimp, I mean me, because I love shrimp. Shrimp is delicious. But unfortunately, my flamingo is set to be whatever color these guys gave me. Alright. Let me finish up the beak as much as I sort of can. Alright. So I am doing a kind of a wet on wet technique. My acrylic is still wet right there, and I'm kind of blending it as best as I can with a FX effects brush. And the other thing I always have with me are my handy wipers, my easy wipers, I'm sorry, just to kind of, when I'm rinsing off my brushes in the water, I just kind of wipe them quickly just to get them clean, so I don't muddy my colors as much as I can. Although, with this, it's kind of, it is what it is. Alright, and I'm going to paint in that whole eye, this kind of cold gray color. And might as well use a little bit of this Payne's gray to kind of darken that as well for a bit of a shadow. Alright. So I like to think of, when I do paint eyes like this, I think of them kind of in layers. So I have the background around the eye, and then it goes kind of down into a darker area, and then it'll step back into kind of where the eye is. I don't know if that makes sense. but I kind of like layer on top of it, almost graphically, if you guys understand what I mean. Alright, just to kind of, I'm just trying to find a little bit of that form of the beak so it sort of makes sense. I think that's his nostril. I don't know, these are really funky looking birds. Also, did you know a group of flamingos is called a flamboyance? It's the best thing ever. I also feel like I just set off a group effort of random other animals, like a murder of crows, or...
I know so many.
What is a hippopotamus? That's what I need to know.
A lone ranger.
I know that lizards are a lounge.
A lizards are a what?
A lounge.
A lounge?
And rhinos are a crash.
That's amazing. A crash.
Hippopotamus. A group of hippopotamuses is called a bloat.
Yeah.
A bloat of is it hippopotamuses? I know that's how they say it in the song.
The song, yeah.
A bloat of hippos.
It's hippopotami? Hippopotamuses. That's, now I have the song stuck in my head. Alright, let me go around this eye a little bit. Okay. Go around the 200. That gets really light right there. It's still a little bit more pink than this section. Do you want to differentiate that? Okay. Kind of blend out that acrylic. But I'm not really trying to make it a super perfect blend. Kind of chunking it in there a little bit. And then I'm going to use this yellow, because typically speaking, when you have light hit something like kind of at the top of his head, it does tend to turn more yellow, just because light, especially when it's outside, tends to have like a yellow hue to it. Not that it's impossible for it not to. You know, if you have a really funky sunset going on, the color of that light's going to change. But this looks pretty yellow to me. So that's how I'm going to have to do that. Just because I don't have another yellow. Well, I do have the chalk marker. Again, I can go over that at the end. I don't know if it's going to ruin it, but we'll give it a whirl. Alright, so there's the form of his head. Even it looks really desaturated. Oh, we do have an orange gray too. I forgot about that. That is a nice funky color. Give me a little bit of a difference in the rest of his body. But you know what? I'm going to also shove in a bit of green gray. Because if your light is warm, your shadows are cool. So I'm going to cool down maybe a little bit of this purple too. Cool down under here, under his neck, with a mix of the green gray and the violet gray. Kind of give him a shadow. And also make that look consistent with, get a touch of water, mix it in with the kind of red mess that I have down here, and give him a little bit of a shadow down here with the same colors, just to kind of make it look like it was intentional from the very beginning. All right. how am I going to use that ruler? You know what? I don't know. Let's do, now normally I wouldn't say mix water into your acrylics because it does kind of mess with the bond of your acrylics, but I need to kind of get this to be a little bit of a soupier consistency. I need it more fluid. And I'm gonna make a big mess with this. So I'm gonna take my little splatter brush, and you know what? Let's do, this is mostly just for me testing, but I'm gonna put this here-ish. All right, so if I do it that way, that should be away from a face, I think. Nope, hold on. If I splatter myself, it's in the name of art. Yep, there we go. And, haha, it gave me a solid line. The only thing is, with that is that I now have paint on the bottom side of my ruler, which I will need to wipe off before I put it back down. But that did work as kind of a barrier. That's how I'm gonna have to use this. But I'm gonna paint the rest of it first, and then I'm gonna make sure to do that towards the end there. How am I looking on time, by the way?
About 23 minutes left.
23 minutes left. Oh. All right. Let me put away the stuff that I've already used. I'll have to clean it later. Palette knives. I'm gonna call that as done. I'm calling it. All right. My FX Effects brushes I'm gonna also have to keep because they're my only brushes, other than the throwaway ones for the masking fluid words, which I have to use masking fluid somehow. Okay, let's shove some more paint down. This is a really funky FX Effects brush. It has a very odd shape to it, but it will do the trick. All right. I actually kind of want to darken that quite a bit. So his head will come forward. And I could always go on top of it with other paint to lighten it if I need to. All right. Yeah, I need to definitely darken this, because otherwise it's gonna be lost in that area. Or do I darken the chin? Let's darken the chin. Lighten this area. Nope, it's about the same color. Let's lighten it some more. Which is okay, I can fix that later. Ish. The rest of this, I kind of want to be pretty messy with the rest of this. Let me pull in some of that orange too. Should be pretty fun. And because this has such a funky shape to it, it actually gives me really good, almost like feather-like brush marks. And actually, I can push it forward so you guys can see. All right. Get this in there. This is the most desaturated flamingo I've ever painted.
Moody.
This is a diva flamingo. It's got a vibe. All right. Again, I can probably go in there with more of the chalk markers and stuff at the end. Just mostly want to block out those colors. Ish. Alright guys, my flamingo does need a name. What is Flamingo's name?
Francis.
Francis! It's Francis the Flamingo is very illiterate, or alliteration-esque. Is that illiterate?
Alliterative.
Alliterative, that's the right way. Again, you guys.
I don't know. I think they should name him.
Yes, you guys name him. What's my flamingo's name? Did you say Fred?
Ferdinand.
Ferdinand. That reminds me of that the Bull movie.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this over here. Just to kind of moody. Okay. Let me see. Kind of the flamingo-esque.
Well, I've got
shape.
Henry,
Henry.
Frank,
Frank is good.
Fern, Floyd, Flynn, Jerry, Freddie.
Ooh, Jerry's a solid one.
I've got Chester and
Ooh.
Francis Flame the Third.
Whoever said Francis Flame the Third, that's pretty fantastic.
That is
See what I did
Francis
there?
spirituality.
All right, let's pop in some more of these colors. This is actually getting really thick.
I got a Dr. Frankenfurter and I like it.
Dr. Frankenfurter, the flamingo.
YouTube's getting a lot of Skeksis vibes from the Dark Crystal.
I'm kind of okay with the fact that you guys are seeing Skeksis. That makes me really happy. Love the Dark Crystal. Such a good... Well, all right. The new TV show or the original? Frida's looking at me like I just betrayed her.
The new one was not bad,
It wasn't bad.
but it's not.
Yeah,
the
it's hard.
original.
Yeah, no, it's hard to beat the original. All right. This
We've
is
also gotten Dingo and Kevin for names.
Kevin.
Kevin is from
Kevin.
That's actually the name. Kevin is the name of
The penguin.
the penguin
In the
over
studio.
there in the office. Okay, now that I got the majority of feathers kind of roughed in and that is still very wet, let's call the acrylics done because, well, I can still splatter. I can still splatter with the ink too. Let's maybe keep that to the side here.
15 minutes, a lot of supplies
Quite a
left.
few left.
I will get this, I think.
Fernando.
Get there.
I love it.
Ooh, actually, you know what?
Cisco.
You didn't give me anything to really resist. I mean, there's the ink, but, you know what? I'm gonna have to, kind of like a...
It's called a challenge.
I know. You guys made this one hard. I'm impressed. It's good. It's good. That's the thing, is to like figure out all the different art supplies that go together that shouldn't go together. That you're just like, what is that? Alright, sorry, I just want to hint at that glasses, just in case the other ones don't really work. Oh, and I forgot his eyeball.
Cynthia suggested using the resist as your white.
The issue with using the masking fluid as my white is that it dries clear. So that would not actually work so hot. It would do, I just got paint on my arm. It would for the time that it was wet, but it probably wouldn't stay very well. Got a creepy little yellow eye. I love it. I do need to darken up some of this area. Right? And then I'll go back in, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go in with these chalk markers. So it is important to shake, Sonora. Can't sing any more of that because we'll probably be like hit for infringement. Yeah. Yes, you do need to shake them really, really well and then just kind of tap them down. Usually I'm not this like spazzy with tapping, but that will have to do. All right, so I'm going to use the violet. Let's do a party hat. This is what I was worried. The acrylic is definitely still wet and it's kind of hard to draw on top of it with a chalk marker. That's okay, we'll get there. And I'm just going to incorporate it into there. I don't think I've ever done as messy art as I do when I'm on a mystery art box show. Now he's moody but ready to party. All right, so let's do a purple and green hat. Why not? Excuse me while I try to get this marker started. It's starting, it's taking a second. Hold on. Probably, well, I was going to say, I probably should have had these started before I started the whole show, but I did not have the ability to do that. Alright. Do some stripies.
You do have a hairdryer over there if you need it.
I do have a hairdryer, but I haven't quite gotten to the point of grabbing it yet. Again, paint on my arm. That's what I have an apron for, right? Alright, let's get some of these funky colors. I am going to definitely need that to dry though for the gel pens. I don't know if they're going to go on. We're going to try. Alright, there's my pink. This is going to be ridiculously pink, but we're going to do it anyway. Paint all over it. Let's do so I'm gonna make some pink glasses. Trying to get that acrylic off the tip of this pen, the chalk marker. So one thing you do have to kind of watch out is that if you push it in too many times, it does kind of push out a lot of the chalk. Any paint marker will do that generally, but it does have paint on the end. That's actually working in my favor because it's overpowering the acrylic. Letting me kind of go over top of it. I think it's, yeah, right about here is where I had that. Normally I would turn this, but I'll let it just stay kind of where it's at. Alright, so what do we decide, name-wise? What is my fancy flamingo name?
I'm still on Francisco Fernando Frankenfurter.
Francisco Fernando Frankenfurter
The third.
the first?
Third.
I think this is where I had my 2. I kind of lost the 2 a little bit. I'll have to fix that more so with my ink. This chalk marker does not like the acrylic while the acrylic is wet. Probably wouldn't do this if I had let it fully cure. Maybe I'll hit it with a hairdryer. Connect it there and connect it there. Haha! It's just ridiculous. Alright, let me chalk markers. I'll call the brushes sort of done for now. So many things. Let's do, I don't have anything to put the ink in, so I'm going to,
Rhiannon was asking earlier, do you need to shake up that Sumi ink before you use it?
I would, just because the way Sumi ink is that it has the pigment suspended in the medium, and just to kind of make sure that that ink isn't settled on the bottom of your bottle. Make sure this is very sealed before you start shaking, just to make sure that it doesn't go everywhere, but just because I haven't opened it, it should be pretty good.
Also, Colleen asked a while ago, but I wanted to wait till you were getting to Sumi ink. Can you thin it? / what would you use to thin it?
Water. You can absolutely thin it down with water. That's usually when you use, ooh, this is actually working really well. When you use Sumi ink, most of the time it's the Sumi ink is the pigment ground into water. So like if you get a Sumi stick where it's like a solid stick of pigment, you get the grinding stone and you actually sit there and grind. It's almost like a meditative process of getting the Sumi ink or the Sumi pigment incorporated into the water. So yes, water is the best way to just do that. Think of it kind of like watercolors. Alright, so these gel pens are actually going on top of the acrylics pretty well. This is so messy. My brain wants to kind of slow down and take more time with it, but I don't have it. Alright. Give a little red. say I'll grab the gel pens maybe a little later.
You technically have about 5 minutes left.
Well, all right. Now, is that 5 minutes from when we started or
5 minutes
total?
from when we started.
All right, fine.
You can go a little bit later because there was a little intro.
It's true.
A bit longer.
All right. We're just gonna do this. I just need to get Sumi ink on there. Let's kind of.
Did you get the gold ink on there already?
No, I have not. I'm working on it.
Masking fluid?
Not yet. I'm working on it. I will get it. All right. I'm gonna call that for the Sumi ink. Maybe a little bit of. Oh, I hope I splatter this the right way. I'll have black. Nope, that's on me. It's on me. Wrong direction. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we got it. We got it. Yeah, now I now have darker freckles. It's fine. Okay, we'll call that for Sumi ink before that gets worse. Okay, masking fluid and the gold ink is all I have left, right?
I think so.
I think so.
Did you use your roller?
I did use my ruler earlier. I can still use it again, right? If I need to. For my, I was going to use it to kind of use as a barrier. This is going to be dark. Okay. This is how I end up with my hands covered in paint. And you know what? I'm going to actually do it a little bit more. Running out of time. Let's do this side. I hope I flick this the right direction. Nope. Every time. It's always the wrong way. I don't know. Nope, I want to go this way. Oh, and I got a blob of water. Oops. Haha, like it never happened. Okay, let's go this way. Sorry, I'm trying to give him like almost like rays of light kind of coming out of his head. Let's maybe do, actually let's do this side. Okay, that's right way. Thought I got myself again. Listen, splattering is hard. I almost just did it again. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. He's got like rays of light coming out of his head now. Okay. Masking fluid and this ink. All right. Gonna have to fix his glasses and his little party hat. Right. Where'd my other brush go? Here it is. Let's use masking fluid first. It's gonna be difficult because everything's still kind of wet. That's okay. Should probably actually use, let me use the bigger one. Bigger brush. So the masking fluid, for those of you who are not familiar, is kind of like a liquid latex, liquid rubber, more or less. So put it on, let it dry, and it forms a barrier on your artwork. So you can do layers of color without, I guess, kind of going over the spaces that you didn't want to go over. I just don't think, in the sense of what I'm using it for, it's gonna go over well, just because everything is still wet. So this is not what you want to do. But I'm rushing. You know what? I am going to use it as, how much time do I have left?
I mean, a few minutes. Somebody on Facebook was saying that you could use it as the lenses since it dries clear.
't that's exactly what I'm doing. It's going to dry clear. It's going to be sticky because it is liquid rubber, essentially. But it'll look different.
Textural.
It will look textural. I need something to apply this ink with. This kind of, I think this is going to have to work. It's bronze ink. All right, the other thing with this Winsor Newton ink, all of your pigment is going to settle to the bottom, so you do have to shake it as well. Oh man, this is still so wet. I have paint everywhere. All right. It's probably not enough shaking, but I'm gonna have to go for it if I can open it. All right. Now this is one of my favorite inks just because the mica flake in it kind of dances as you put it on there, and it dries really pretty. Move this down a little bit. It's gonna have to be in glasses. And now his glasses will match my balloons. Oh, drip. This is what happens when you go too fast. It's okay. Make the drip work. Sorry, and I have not been checking to see if this has been on camera. Are we good as far as that? I'm just trying to work as fast as I can. All right.
So Miriam would like to know a little bit more about the rolling ruler. Why is it special? Why is it a must-have tool?
The rolling ruler is actually more for draftsmen, especially when you do technical drawings, or especially if you are into doing architectural illustrations, is something that I've used it for. The rolling, wow, that is actually bleeding in there. The gold is going into the lens. I don't know if you guys can see that. The gold is going into the masking fluid. Alright, well that happened. Sorry, got distracted there. So, if you are doing some kind of a technical illustration where like you're using a lot of perspective lines, it's really nice to have a ruler that will shift around literally in one direction. So it kind of helps you stick on the same plane as far as that's concerned. And also if you're doing architectural drawings, they also need to keep very straight lines, so that will help you to do that as well. So one thing I was worried about was that this chalk marker was going to pick back up because it is chalk, and it is. So I probably should have put the gold down before I put the chalk marker. So I'm essentially just putting down way too much of the gold so that it will sit on top, and trying not to brush it as much as possible. But I don't know if that's going to stay and be more or less archival. That might be a problem, because that might actually pick right back up, because the chalk marker pigment is meant to pick up, and this is not. So let's do his little poofy pom-pom at the top. And he needs a little bedazzling right there. And you know what? Let me see if I can get this clear to dry a little bit so you guys can see through it. Maybe. Ooh, nope. So the high, the blow dryer on high is actually moving that gold pigment around, so I'm trying to I'm gonna have to go back to low. Hopefully this will dry clear. If not, it'll just be the weirdest glasses he's ever had. You know what? Multitasking. While I'm going to do that, I'm going to make this look a little bit more graphic-y with a black chalk marker, just because it's so funky that I need, I think, a differentiation between things to kind of find my drawing back again. Because it's so messy, it doesn't matter if my lines are perfect, right? Also helps if I point the hairdryer at that. Alright, my arm is now dead. Last few little things, and then I'm gonna have to call this. Ooh, yep, that masking fluid is kind of moving with this marker. Because the masking fluid is meant to be picked back up. It's not meant to stay on your artwork. It's meant to act as a barrier, and then you pick it up, and then whatever you had laid down should be on the areas that were exposed, but not where they were not. I hope that makes sense. All right. I can feel the paint sticking to my arm. messy. It's fine. It's fine. And let's get some of this drawing back in here. All right, I can just barely see his eye popping out through that. It's starting to dry, but it's not exactly there yet. But I think we're gonna have to call it on my moody party flamingo. Oh, that was, did I use everything? All right, I got acrylic, gel pens, sumi ink, chalk markers. Use the brushes, use the palette knives, use the ruler, use the ink, use masking fluid. I think I got it all. Did I?
I think so.
Yes! Alright guys, well, that was the Mystery Art Box show. It was a ton of fun. I'm a hot mess. It was, as always, this is kind of the fun thing to do with a good variety of art supplies, and it's a really fun way to challenge your friends who are artists, or if you have friends like mine who love to challenge me, have them go grab random art supplies that you have no idea what they are or what they do, or if they go together, and see if you can do this and see what happens. You can go into it like I did today with a plan of attack, with a kind of an idea, a picture in mind, or you can go completely abstract, which is what I did last time, which was a lot of fun as well. Even though I have an illustration background, so it ended up turning into more of a picture of like a oceany sea kind of seascape words. But it's just a fun way of kind of letting loose and exploring art supplies that you would never really grab and put together in an odd way. And if you want to make sure that you have a time challenge, that's also a little added bonus. But I hope if you guys do get the chance to do this, you guys post it online. If you guys do want to put it on the Jerry's Live Facebook group, it's just called Jerry's Live Group. You do have to, in order to join that group, answer one question, just because otherwise you are deemed a robot, and I am not allowed to have robots, apparently. One day, Katie, I will convince her. But otherwise, you can also send it directly to me, which my host page is called Emmy, host of Jerry's Live, and that way if you don't want to post it for everyone to see, because I know this is a very difficult challenge, but it is a lot of fun, and I hope you guys get the chance to do this. But make sure if you also do post it on there, tag it with the code JL200. You can also tag it on Instagram. There is Jerry's account, which is Jerry's Artorama. I know there's a lot of Jerry's Artorama of like Raleigh, of Nashville. Those are all of our individual stores. So just get the one that says Jerry's Artorama. And then I also have my own personal Instagram, which is misscakes.art. And you can see all of my art shenanigans as well, and some behind the scenes stuff. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and thank you again so much for getting us to our episode 200. Without you guys, it would really not happen. So you guys are the best, and I thank you so much. And oh, join me next week, because I'm going to be doing limited edition linoleum cut prints. It's going to be a fine art series. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we have a new kit put together for you guys to explore that. So if you ever have a chance to do linoleum printing or linoleum cut printing, it's one of those things that just, I fell in love with it, and I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I do. So that was everything, guys. Thank you so much.